Hello everyone, my name is Shubhajit and today we will be discussing about the one of the best practices of use effect hook when it comes to the situation when we need to update our state based on the previous state inside a inside an use effect hook. Okay, so let's see what I mean by that. So here we have a very simple example um, in which we are using a use state hook, use effect hook. Inside the use effect hook, we have a set interval, and on the UI, we just show the count state variable which we have defined with the help of use state. Now, I strongly recommend you to see the use state hook video as well as the use effect hook video. If you haven't watched that previously, it will be very easy for you to understand it because I will assume that you know basics of use state and use effect. I will put it in the videos in the description. Please go and watch them first and then come here. So yeah, let's continue. So inside the use effect, we have put a logger which tells when the use effect is triggering, how many times the use effect is triggering on the UI. And also inside the use effect, what we are doing that we are setting an interval which will set the count to count plus one after every second. This 1000 means 1000 milliseconds, which is after every second. And the cleanup of the use effect looks like something clearing the previous interval which was created here inside the use effect above. Okay. So this is a very standard use effect hook structure where we have the actual code and we have the return statement for cleanup. Okay. In our dependency array, we have the count variable. Now, those who have used the use effect hook, who have been with the use effect hook for some time, they should be able to understand that what is the issue here. It is not at all a good practice to have a set count inside a use effect and having the same count state variable as the dependency. So what will happen here is the first time the component mounts, okay, the use effect will be called, this console log use effect. This interval will be set, this interval ID with a set interval, and this interval will actually have a set count to count plus one. On every second it will increment the count, that is fine. But whenever on every second it will increment the count, what will happen is the count will be incremented to count plus one. Now whenever the state value changes, this whole component is re-rendered again. So the count value changes and this use effect see, okay, the count has changed from the previous render. I need to call the use effect again. Then inside the use effect, it will again create one more interval. It will set that interval to count plus one. Again, it will set the count interval to count plus one. The count value changes and again it will rerun the use effect because the dependency array has a count variable. So this is an issue. I will show you that how many times the use effect is being called. Instead, the use effect should not be called that many times. Okay, it should only be called during the initial mount, that is only 2 times due to the React strict mode. After that, it shouldn't be called because the rest of the things will be handled by the set interval thing, because set interval runs after every second and it will set the count. But due to the dependency array having count, whenever the set count is increase to count plus 1, this count value changes, and due to that the whole thing runs again. Let me show you that. If I refresh this, you can see use effect again 3 times, 4 times. So based on the number of times, you see this number of times the use effect is being called and console logged here. This is the issue. This should not happen at all, and this is due to the dependency array. What we can do, if you have seen my previous videos of the use effect use state best practices, we should it is a good practice to use an updater method, and with the help of a updater method we are actually not using the actual count state variable, we are just using it in a form of updater method where we take this count as the present count, and that count will be changed to count plus 1. So this whole thing will be going inside the state update mechanism of React, and there only it will be analyzed. This actually had a benefit in our case. This dependency of count is removed now because count is not used inside it like before. It is used like count plus 1. So now use effect will not be called every time, because once it sets the interval, the set count is changed. It sees in the dependency key, okay, is count there in the dependency? No. So it will not call the use effect again and again, as it is not present in the dependency array. Let me show you that. So if I refresh this, okay, first two times it will be called, that is fine. But after that, whatever, how many times it will run, it is running due to the set interval, and there will be no use effect logs here, you see. So this is something which you should understand. You should not keep the state variable inside the dependency array which is actually being set inside the use effect. So this is not a good practice. You should use an updater function to update the set method for a state variable whenever you are using that set method inside an use effect. I hope you have understood this. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you have any doubts, blast the comment section with them. I will be happy to help. So thanks everyone.